कंप्यूटर उड़ गया।
What happened?
कंप्यूटर उड़ गया।
Yeah, I think there is some problem, technical problem there. So we are starting the next session.
No, the
I
computer.
request.
Computer is going.
I think there is some problem in computer. Please, we are just rectifying it. Just. We are continuing this session. Now I request Mrs. Anjali Chandra to continue this lecture on substations and distribution lines.
Yeah. We were talking about overhead versus underground cables. So we had talked about what are the advantages of underground versus overhead. So in terms of restoration, supply can be restored in minimum time in case of overhead line, and the skills required are also minimum. For cables, it takes much more time for identifying the fault and also for its rectification, and skills of highest order and special equipment are needed for location of fault as well as for rectification. We have the cable fault locating equipment, and it locates fault by various methods. It can be by sending a signal and receiving it back, in what time one receives it back, through radio signals or through imposing some other signal on the line. So these cable fault locating vans have to be brought to identify where the fault has taken place. In an overhead line, it is easily visible, and you can also find out which from visual inspection where the fault has taken place. Then in overhead line, the maximum and uninterrupted supply cannot be assured. In cables, there are minimum number of interruptions, and supply can be maintained to a much larger degree. In life of service is much less. In case of overhead line, the cables have a longer life. Losses, if we talk about losses, then the overhead lines are prone to hooking by theft, as we have bare overhead conductors, whereas in cables it is very difficult to tap the cables because they are underground. Usually nobody does that. Therefore, losses in case of overhead lines by tapping or by hooking are much higher, and the possibility of accidents in overhead lines and risk of life is much more in overhead lines than in cables. Then the overhead lines require more land for installation of substations, and this can be installed in case of cables. These can be installed on minimum land.
Yeah, there is a call from Lucknow.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, Lucknow, please ask your question.
Hey, hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Lucknow, ask your question.
Hello.
Yes, please ask your question.
Hello.
Hello, please ask your question.
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
मैडम, ये पूछना, ट्रांसफार्मर के न्यूट्रल को डेडिकेटेड अर्थ ही क्यों करते हैं? उसी अर्थ से अगर बॉडी को जोड़ेंगे तो क्या रेपरकशंस हो जाएंगे? Over. Thank you.
Pardon, I didn't get your question. Please repeat.
Please repeat your question. Oh, I think there is phone has disconnected.
Please repeat your question. Abhi question was not very clear. Please ask again, otherwise we'll move forward. Because I
Please
could
proceed,
not,
I think so.
yes, I could hear something.
No.
Yes.
Yes, Lucknow, please ask your question.
ये मैडम, ये पूछना, ट्रांसफार्मर के न्यूट्रल को डेडिकेटेड अर्थ ही क्यों करते हैं? अगर उसी से बॉडी को भी जोड़ेंगे तो क्या रेपरकशंस हो जाएंगे? थैंक यू.
Neutral को.
Neutral को dedicated earth क्यों करते हैं?
Yes.
Because the neutral is also nowadays carrying current. It is not in a balanced transformer. The neutral does not carry current, but in an unbalanced situation, which is mostly in distribution transformers, the neutral also carries current, and neutral is earth separately and the body is earth separately. Otherwise, the neutral current will go to the body and there will be a shock from the body. So we were talking about overhead versus underground cables. There is the aesthetic beauty in case of cables is definitely much more, whereas in case of overhead lines they do not look very nice. So it would be, from aesthetic point of view, using underground cables is much better. So how do you select a cable? The selection of the cable, the factors on which the selection of the cable is dependent is the load, the system voltage, the type of insulation, the short circuit rating, the mode of installation, and economy and safety. For the same conductor size, the maximum continuous carrying capacity depends on depth of laying, ground temperature, ambient temperature, proximity of other cables, type of ducts used, and load cycle. So the maximum permissible conductor temperature for various types of cables for 33 kV for paper insulated lead covered, that is PILC, the maximum permissible conductor temperature is 65 degrees C in case of 33 kV, 70 degrees centigrade in case of 11 kV, and 80 degrees centigrade in case of LT. For PVC cables, the maximum permissible conductor temperature is 70 degrees centigrade in case of PVC cables. In case of 11 kV, it is 70 degrees centigrade again, and for LT also it is 70 degrees centigrade. For XLPE, it is 90 degrees centigrade for 33 kV, 11 kV as well as LT. Depending upon the voltage at which the power is transmitted or distributed, the cables are designated as EHV cables for 66 kV and above, medium and high voltage cables for 3.3 kV to 33 kV, and LT cables insulated to 1100 volts. The initial cost of laying the underground cable system is very high, but the maintenance charges are minimum and also have long life. It is estimated that the cost of underground cable system at any voltage and for the same current capacity is 10 times the cost of an overhead system. The 11 kV, the underground cables are mainly used at 11 kV in our country, and that too mostly in Delhi, Maharashtra, West Bengal and Goa. These are the areas they are using, and that is mostly in metros. Delhi is using, Bombay is using, Calcutta is using underground cables, and we also have some underground cables in Goa at 33 kV and 11 kV. At LT we are not using much of underground cable because LT faults are very high, and we are using aerial bunch cable for LT system. The aerial bunch cable can be taken overhead on the same poles, so and its cost is much less as compared to.
Yeah, there is a call from Mumbai. Yes, Mumbai, please ask your question.
Good evening, I am speaking from Mumbai 1604.
Yes.
I would like to know, this neutral is earth.
Yes.
At what all points, starting from generating station till consumers, at which all points neutral is earth?
Pardon, neutral is earth at which all points? Neutral is not, neutral of transformers is earth, of all the substations. Then for lines actually it is the poles which are earthed. So every third or fifth pole in a kilometer is earthed. The neutral of all the distribution substations of all the transformers in the distribution substations and the high voltage substations, the 33 by 11 kV substations, the 66 by 11 kV, 132 by 33, everywhere transformer neutral is earthed. And in case of poles in the line, it is not the neutral which is earthed, but it is the pole which is earthed at every third or fifth pole in a kilometer.
The reason for earthing the neutral, you said, because the transformer neutral carries the current, unbalanced current, and therefore it must be earthed.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's actually in the lines it is not the neutral which is earthed, but the pole which is earthed.
Yeah. Just proceed to.
But have you also covered that up to what voltages these cables can be used?
Actually these can be used at any voltage. We are using also 66 kV cables, 132 kV cables, but the cost of the cables is very high. So it is the cost which is the limiting factor in our country.
Whether 400 kV can use the cable.
400 kV, they are not manufactured, I think, in our country, but yes, they can be used at 400 kV also. The sizing of the cable depends on the following factors. It is the current carrying capacity, the short circuit.
There is a call from Pune. Yes, Pune, please ask your question.
Yes.
Earth system and unearth system. उसमें क्या difference है?
Pardon?
Pardon?
Earth system and unearth system.
Earth system and unearth system.
Earth and unearth.
I think what is an earth and an unearth? I didn't get your question actually.
He wants to know about the earthing. What is the...
You want to know?
Yeah, I think...
I'm not very sure what is the question you
If
want
there is
to ask.
no earthing, then what will happen?
Yeah, I think his question is that if you do not earth the system,
Yeah.
Yes.
what is the consequence of it?
Actually, if you do not earth a system, then you are likely to get shocks. Basic purpose of earthing is to prevent. It is for the safety of the personnel as well as for the safety of the equipment.
Equipment also.
So I do not base, that is I think why we do earthing. So we should have an earth system. So as I said, the sizing of cables depends on the current carrying capacity of the cable, the short circuit current rating, the voltage drop and the losses. That is the criteria for sizing of the cable as it is for the overhead lines. Then the jointings and terminations for the cables are very important because the cables are supplied in reels of standard lengths. And you have to make joints to get the desired length of the cable, and the joints are to be made as straight through joints so that each joint has the same features or characteristics of the original cable. The straight through joints and end terminations are costly and they need skilled staff. That is why, as I said, the cable is a costly affair. Require special lugs at terminations. The joints and terminations can be of various types. Earlier we were using cast iron molded joints and terminations, but now these have become obsolete and these have been replaced by epoxy resin type, heat shrinkable type, cold shrinkable type and push on type joints and terminations for cables. As we talked about joints and terminations for overhead lines, we said that they should be either crimped or compression type joints. These are the types of joints which are made in the cables. They are of the epoxy resin type, heat shrinkable, cold shrinkable and push on type. So it's now much easier to make joints in cables than it was earlier. The cold shrinkable type, they will catch on without any heating, and push on type, they are very easy to make. Then we come to meters for measurement of, this is about overhead lines, and for measuring the energy being supplied to the system, we have to put meters, and these meters are to be installed as per the regulations on meters, meter installation and operation, which have been issued by Central Electricity Authority. All the meters to be provided in the system are to be installed as per the directions given in these regulations. These regulations came into force on 22nd April 2006, and these have been put on Central Electricity Authority website also. As I earlier said, the cea.nic.in. If you go to this website, then these regulations on installation and operation of meters are available on the CEA website under regulations.
Can you also say what does it cover, these regulations?
Yes, these regulations cover all the aspects of installation of meters, the type of meters, the location of meters, the ownership of meters, the period testing of meters, how frequently they are to be tested, what are the standards for meters which are to be installed, what is the accuracy, what is the location, all these features, the sealing of meters, how they, at what points they are to be sealed. Everything has been prescribed in the installation and operation of meters, which type of meters, the first thing that the regulation says that the correct meter has to be installed.
Yeah, there is a call from Pune. Yes, Pune, please ask your question.
Hello.
Yes.
So many times I have heard word that system is earth or another system. 33 kV system is earth system or another system.
We are not getting your question. Are
Hello?
you getting?
The 33 kV another system or earth system.
Unearth or earth?
Can you please differentiate?
I'm not very clear about the question.
33 kV unearth system and earth system.
What does he want to say?
We do not use neutral.
Okay, actually I think what you mean to say is that the neutral is not run from the substation in 33 kV system. In lines, most to save on cost, sometimes the neutral is not run from the 33 kV substation, and the 11 kV lines are just 3-phase. So that is a difficulty being faced when we are using high voltage distribution system, because when we go to high voltage distribution system, then either we have to use the earth as the return wire, or you have to run a separate neutral from the 33 kV system. So the 33 kV system, sometimes the 33 lines run from the 33 by 11 kV substation do not have a neutral, or you have to create a separate neutral from the distribution substation onwards.
So I hope you got your answer.
So we were talking about meters. So meters are very important for recording the energy being supplied from the power system or the distribution system. Without accurate meters, you will not be able to record the energy and bill the consumer for what he is consuming. So the meters are required to be installed at various points of the distribution system, including the substation equipment and at the consumer end. They are required for correct recording of electrical quantities for operational and safety purposes, as well as for energy accounting. For consumer end, they are required for billing as well as for accounting, but at other places they are required for energy audit and accounting. As per the regulations, the type of meters from application point of view are interface meter. They have been classified as interface meter, consumer meter, and energy accounting and audit meter. These are the three types. I will explain what are the interface meters. The consumers.
Call from Cochin.
There is a call from Cochin. Yes, Cochin, please ask your question.
Hello, in distribution transformer,
Yes.
neutral is there
Yes.
to prevent the shifting of neutral point, isn't it?
Yes.
Can you explain a little more?
Shifting of the
How the shifting is prevented? That's what I want to know.
this is because there is an unbalance. The current in any AC system has a vector. It is not a scalar quantity. It is a vector quantity. It has a magnitude as well as a direction. So when there is a current in the neutral, there is an unbalance, then there is likely to be shifting of the neutral. Then it may not happen in a balanced system, but in an unbalanced system there is likely to be shifting. That is why we say that the neutral is earth, to prevent shifting of the neutral.
Yeah, there is a call from Bhubaneswar. Yes, Bhubaneswar, please ask your question.
Yeah, thanks. Hello. Actually, in our system, we have got delta star transformer.
Yeah.
So, can you please tell me what type of transformer is used in the generating station?
So generating station, maybe you could tell.
The question is not clear to me.
Please repeat your
question.
Our system has adopted delta star type of transformer.
Yes, they are used for distribution.
So what type
mostly.
of transformer is usually preferred
Yes,
in the generating station
generating
as a
station.
step of transformer?
Most probably, I think there are delta, but sir.
No, I'm not clear.
Delta can also be used.
Actually, I'm not very clear of
on
what.
this. We can
We
check
can
that.
check and let you know, but most probably they are delta. It is only in distribution that we are using delta star transformer. We were talking about location of interface meters. What are interface meters? What are energy accounting and audit meters? Well, interface meters I was talking about. Consumers who have interconnection with the interstate transmission system or intrastate transmission system and have been permitted open access by the appropriate commission shall be provided with meters which are called interface meters. That means who are interfacing the transmission system, whether it is central or state. The meters installed on this are called interface meters. For consumers connected to distribution system and permitted open access, provision of interface meters may be made as per the regulations. Whether they are connected to the transmission system, state transmission system, intrastate transmission system or distribution system, we provide meters which are known as interface meters. And the scheme for location of interface meters has to be submitted to the central transmission utility or the state transmission utility or the licensee by owner of the meter in advance before installation of the scheme. Location of energy accounting and audit meters, where are they placed? They are placed at the generating stations, at the stator terminal of the generator, on HV and LV side of the station and the unit auxiliary transformer, and on feeder to various auxiliaries. The energy accounting and audit meters basically are placed so that one can see what is the energy consumed by the various auxiliaries as well as by the lines and substations. So that is why we place energy accounting and audit meters. In the transmission system, they are placed on all incoming and outgoing feeders. And in the distribution system, they are placed on all incoming and outgoing feeders and the substation transformers, including the distribution transformer. The licensee may provide the meter on the primary or secondary side or both sides, depending upon the requirement for energy accounting and audit. Usually the distribution transformers have not been provided with meters in our country, and it is only now that with the stress on energy accounting and audit, meters are being placed on the distribution transformer. They are generally being placed on the secondary side of the distribution transformer and on both sides only when you want to calculate the losses of the distribution transformer. Otherwise they are being placed only on the secondary side so that you can compare the energy supplied by the distribution transformer with the energy billed to the ultimate consumer. So that helps in auditing, accounting and auditing of energy supplied from a distribution transformer. So now it has become mandatory to provide meters on the distribution transformer as well. And in our country about 13% of the distribution transformers have been provided with meters. And location of consumer meters, where are they to be provided? They are to be installed by the licensee either at the consumer premises, or if now the regulations permit that the meter can be installed outside the consumer premises also. And when the meter is installed outside the consumer premises, then a real-time display unit has to be provided at the consumer premises for the information to the consumer, so that he can see the electricity consumed by him. The meter, for example, many utilities are placing the meters in feeder pillars like Punjab has done, or on the poles. They place them in a box on the pole itself. This prevents actually taking the meter out of the consumer premises, prevents tampering of the meter by the consumer. So quite a few utilities are resorting to placing the meter outside the consumer premises. This has resulted in substantial reduction of losses also. That is one reason why this has been permitted.
So there is a request from all the RCs and the study centers. So please send the attendance of the students to our studio. Yes.
Okay.
Madam Anjali, when the meter is located outside the premises and away on a pole or in separate box or enclosure, then whose responsibility it is to maintain the meter, or if there is a tampering on the meter, or if there is a...
Well, inside, yes sir, what you have asked is a very good question. The meters installed in the consumer premises, then the consumer is responsible for the safety of the meter.
Okay.
And no tampering should be done by him. But when the meter is installed outside the consumer premises, then it is the responsibility of the licensee to take care of the safety of the meter. He can put the meters in a locked box or in a locked feeder pillar or in some steel box. But then he has to ensure that either the display unit should be in, as at the moment the regulation says that the display unit indicating the energy consumed by him should be inside the consumer premises, because the consumer has a right to know that what electricity he is consuming.
But safety is the business of the distribution company.
If it is outside the consumer premises. If it is inside the consumer premises, then it is the safe responsibility of the consumer and not of the licensee.
Yes, Mumbai, please ask your question.
Hello, we have 3 candidates for this post.
Yes.
We are speaking from 1604 Mumbai.
Okay.
Okay, we were talking about meters which are to be installed. As we said, there is a provision now to provide the meters outside the consumer premises. Secondly, the ceiling points have been indicated where the seals have to be placed. They are at the meter cabinet, at the meter terminal block, and the utility has to have a seal tracking software. Earlier these provisions were not there, but now the utility has to have a software for tracking where the seals have been placed. And lead seals are not to be used. One is that the lead seals are harmful to the environment, so lead seals have been banned in the regulations. And then the periodic testing of meters has also been prescribed in the regulations. Every meter, whether it is of interface type, of energy accounting and audit type, or of consumer meter, it has to be tested once in every 5 years. Whether the testing can be done for consumer meters, since we have a very large consumer base and it is quite difficult to test meters once in every 5 years, provision has been made that either the meter can be tested at site, or tested meter can be replaced at the consumer premises, and the meter can be taken out for testing and tested at the laboratory. So once at least every utility will have to test once in 5 years, whether it is consumer meter or it is any other type of meter. Quite a few people have expressed reservations, but it is felt that for consumer satisfaction this is very important. Otherwise the utilities were not carrying out periodical testing of the meters, and especially in electromechanical meters, the meters were going slow. One important part of the regulations is that all meters have to be of static type now, whether they are for small value agricultural consumers, whether they are for big industrial consumers, but every meter has to be of static type. It cannot be of electromechanical type. So all meters installed in future have to be of static type, and the meters already installed are to be replaced either by the licensee on his own or at the request of the customer. No time frame has been given, but all meters have gradually to become static type.
Why this recommendation has been made? Would you explain, and what is the special feature in these static meters? How does it help the distribution company?
Actually, these static meters, earlier the electromechanical meters were tended to go slow. The accuracy used to go haywire in case of electromechanical meters. Anybody could tamper with these electromechanical meters, and they did not record on low loads, so they drifted with time, with vibration. That is why static meters have been proposed, and static meters, they are of higher accuracy. You can maintain class 1 and accuracy even for LT consumers. Secondly, these static meters have the benefit of that we can download data. So we can prevent the intervention by humans because it prevents the fudging of the readings or even, recording of the reading. He reads 567, but when he records, he may record 657. So all these types of human errors are avoided. Then these static meters usually have a port for downloading, an optical port or maybe RS-232 port from which we can download data. And from this data which we can download, the electronic meter has a lot of capabilities. It can store data for 35 days or 45 days.
How does it help in, how it is made tamper-proof, and what is that feature?
Okay, it cannot, nothing in this world is tamper-proof, I would like to bring to your notice. That making anything tamper-proof is impossible, but electronic meter has features where it can, detect tamper and record the tamper. Not all types of tamper, but most of the tampers can be recorded, that this tamper has been carried out and the duration for which the tamper has been carried out. It can record that, but it is not tamper-proof.
Okay, I like to add here, now since Anjali said, it's correct that you cannot manufacture anything tamper-proof because the tamper technology is much advanced and they can find out any solution for tampering. But usually what was happening that these meters which were not electronic type, the tampering was done by changing the phase and the neutral, and so the consumption was not recorded. And in the electronic meters, a feature has been provided that the neutral current as well as the phase current, the maximum of the two is taken, and the circuitry is built in a manner that even if somebody tries to bypass the phase and takes it through the neutral and earth connection, the electricity will be measured. This is one tampering which is outside the meter, can be handled by the electronic meters, and the accuracy is of course much more than the other mechanical type of meters. I think this feature has helped the distribution
company. Yes, what you say is right, because now earlier that is earlier the CT was not provided in the neutral.
Yes.
The CT was only provided in the phase connection, but now to prevent this sort of tamper, the utilities are asking for sensing current sensing element both in the phase as well as the neutral.
So this has helped because that tampering did not need any seal breaking, and you could change the connections from outside, and therefore at least that feature has been taken.
But this has resulted in what is called neutral looping. You must have heard about the hue and cry in Delhi regarding meters running fast. Well, this was because the meters got tested and they were not found to be running beyond the permissible limits, but it was the fault in the wiring connections. The neutral, especially in high-rise buildings where quite a few connections are given from the same neutral, and the neutrals were found to be looped. So whenever, even if your load is off, then your neighbor's load is running, that current will also flow through your neutral, and since the neutral has also got a recording CT, therefore your meter is showing consumption even when you are not using it, or it will be showing higher consumption than what you are actually using, because it is the higher of the two readings, phase and neutral, which will be shown. So your phase will be showing the consumption which you are making, and your neutral will be showing the consumption what you are making as well as your neighbor's consumption, because your neighbor's current is also flowing through your neutral.
I think the incidents happened because of the replacement of the mechanical type of meters with the electronic meters. In the mechanical type of meters, since there was no measurement of the neutral, for ease of convenience of laying of the wires, the one neutral was looped through the another neutral, and then they saved some wire. But then when they changed it, they changed the meter with the meter, and no one looked at it whether the neutral connections are also to be changed. So people started getting more electricity bill, because the consumption of one consumer was also adding up into the consumption of another consumer, and because of this neutral measurement, and therefore when the system was checked, of course the wiring was changed, and this problem stopped.
So another feature of the regulations to prevent this, it has been included in the regulations that the consumer is to ensure that there is no neutral looping. But since the consumer is not very much aware about this, it has also been brought into the regulations that the licensee, upon checking, he finds that there is a neutral looping, then he will inform the consumer in his bill or maybe separately, telling the consumer to get his wiring corrected. So this feature has also been brought into the regulation.
But somehow I feel that this responsibility should not have been put on the consumer for checking this. The distribution company, whosoever is distributing electricity in that area, must check and confirm that the connections are made all right, and
yes,
there is no such thing happening, looping of the neutral.
The consumer can check this by the earth leakage. There is an LED which is indicating the earth leakage. So
lot of consumer awareness and education is involved to this, and therefore I think the distribution company must spread this awareness by simple messages or training of the consumer as well, how to check about it. Otherwise the normal consumer does not know about it,
yes,
which LED is burning and why, what is the use of this.
Exactly as you say, but the consumers are now becoming educated, and especially this problem is where there are many meters installed in the same high-rise complex.
Yeah, of course.
So we have almost come to the end of our lecture.
Okay. Do you want to wind up the session?
Yes,
Yeah.
so we talked about the overhead lines, the substations and the underground cables. So this covers the portion on substations and lines. If you have any questions which are still left unanswered, or you want to ask something more, then you can contact me at my email address, which is anjuli_cea@yahoo.co.in. Thank you.
But if you
I
like
hope this talk with the experts would help you immensely to go through the blocks and effective learning. And at the end, I express my sincere thanks to our experts, Mrs. Chandra, Mr. V.S. Varma, and at the end, I express my sincere thanks to all the viewers and the learners of this program, and I wish you all the very best in your studies. Thank you.